From the heights of Animal Olympus, the flame begins its journey through the four corners of the animal kingdom. Meanwhile, that pantsless producer Paul reminisces about Animalympics and tries to align facts with his childlike memory. Now, pre-recorded live via pirated Twitch stream, Animalympics, presented by ZOO, the network that brings out the beast in sports. Welcome back to another episode of BestowCast. Last week I streamed the recording of Thundercats Exodus, and we hung out a little bit on Twitch, on the Twitchy tubes. I mean, if YouTube is the YouTube-tubes, is Twitchy the Twitchy tubes. We hung out in the chat a little bit, and we were talking about like Chitara and a lot of the other characters, and it somehow it somehow tied into the Animalympics, a movie that I saw when I was a child. I saw it like once. I may have seen it a second time when I was adult, but that one time that I saw it as a child, it stuck with me. So we had gone down the rabbit hole of talking about Animalympics. I now own since this is audio, I gotta make sure you can hear this. I own a physical copy of Animalympics, and this is the second and or third time that I've ever watched this in my life. So what were my thoughts? Let's dive in. I gotta say, it's some memories. Some memories got unlocked. Just hearing that music, hearing the classic music. There's a. I mean, I guess before I even get into this, so the history of this was that I guess it came out in 1980. Let me spot check that. Yes, Animalympics came out in 1980, or was planned to coincide with the Olympics during the 80s. Unfortunately, Russia. Let me get the actual. Gosh, I'm all over the place here.
Please hold the line.
And then Russia invaded Afghanistan, and we protested it, and we pulled out of the Olympics. So it ended up, instead of being two separate spots, they were going to do like a winter Animalympics, and then they were going to do a summer Animalympics. And I guess the winter Animalympics did air. Instead, what they did is they combined them, and they made a movie out of it, and they just combined the two. And it's just it's an interesting tidbit where I was reading about this and trying to get some backstory on it, because this was out in the 80s. I was like 5. Matter of fact, I probably didn't even see this in the 80s. I mean, the only one that aired in the 80s was the Winter Olympics. The full movie came out a little bit after that. But it wasn't on NBC. It was on HBO, apparently. I'm kind of curious what the winter cut would have looked like. This is, the versions that are out there. You can stream it pretty much everywhere now. I just wanted to have a physical copy because for some reason, like, this movie really stuck in my mind. And it was, for the longest time, I did not know the name of it. It wasn't until I did a pODDcast episode with Mr. Lobo, and he said, "Oh, well, that's Animalympics." I'm describing it. I'm describing this thing, and I have a vivid memory that I saw this on NBC. I swear that I saw this on late night airing, like the late movie. And this is why I said I probably wasn't in 1980. This is probably when I was a little bit older, because I wasn't watching the late movie when I was 5 years old. But I swear that I watched it on NBC, because I swear early memories of the late movie is between Animalympics and Kiss. I'm guessing Psycho Circus. It wasn't Psycho Circus. It was something. It happened in an amusement park. Kiss in an amusement park. Those were like the two movies that I remember watching late at night. And as I was reading up on this, the winter version of this was the only thing that aired on NBC. The full edit, which I totally saw the full edit, because what stuck in my mind are all the summer elements. That didn't air until HBO, and someone in the chat here says that they believe it was 1984 was when it was on HBO. And kind of thinking back about it, that might track. That might have been where I saw it, was HBO. We might have had pirated HBO back then. Hearing the music just kind of took me back. Seeing the animations in between each of the segments of what sport they're competing in and stuff really took me back. The animation really looks familiar. Like, I mean, I know this is a childhood memory, and for some reason it's ingrained in my brain somewhere. But I mean, the style looks very familiar, and I've tried looking it up, and I can't find any connection to this movie, whether it's just not properly charted or taken care of or watched over or what. I don't know. Like, the guy who created this, Michael Fermer, who directed this and stuff, went on to do all the Tron. Like, he is the god of Tron. Sorry, a correction. Steven Linsberger went on and to do Tron and everything else, not the other dude. Every Tron, including up to the Tron that's coming out like soon, is all him. But Tron doesn't really have like animated segments. And I even like look at the like there's the what's the alligator. And I'm trying to quick reference, and I can't quick reference. I want to say it's like Boom.
Please hold the line.
Bolt. I found it. It is Bolt. Yeah, like the image of Bolt like is very, very familiar. And of course the image of Kit Mambo is very, very familiar, but I'll get right back to that in a second. It just looks so familiar. I mean, this doesn't have a Warner Brothers marking on it. I'm like, is this a part of Warner Brothers? But I think this was independent from what I was gathering. It seems like this was independently done because it's Lessenberger Studios Incorporated, distributed by Hen's Tooth Video. So there's no like it's not distributed by like Warner or anything. I'm surprised. Although with it being on HBO or being on, well, that doesn't even matter. That's just where it was licensed to. Like NBC is Universal and HBO is Warner Brothers, but that doesn't really matter because this also was on like the Disney Channel for a while too, from what I was reading. The only thing that I super remember, and like I said, this is only an aspect of the Summer Games, is the love story that's going on. Spoilers, but the love story that is going on between Kit Mambo and Renee Fromage. Renee Cheese. Anybody going to guess what country he's running for? Again, spoilers, but they cross the finish line together. They find love, and I as a youth that clicked with me. I don't know why. That was the thing that stuck out with me. That was the thing like, oh, it's so cute. That's like the memory that's ingrained from here on out is this love story. Overall, like I find it interesting. Like after being an adult now and reading some of the facts and knowing about Russia in real life, and kind of seeing a lot of the events, and Russia doesn't compete in any of these events. It's Eurasia that competes. All the teams that are obviously the Russian. They're Eurasia. They're never referred to as Russian. An interesting little nugget that stuck out to me. The other thing I find very interesting is that, and I guess this would be very boring if it was actual like drawn out to actual how like competitions work at the Olympics. But I find it interesting where basically everybody competes in like one category. You have the gymnastics segment. So you have like the one person she's doing the floor routine. And then you have another person who's doing the vault. And I think you have a third, yeah, it's because there's an elephant and they're doing the parallel bars. But all three of them are competing in the same, like they all are competing for the same gold. It's not broken up that they each are, because in the real Olympics, the floor routine would be its own thing, the vault would be its own thing, the horse jump, the vault. What did I say? The parallel. I think I said vault twice. The parallel bars, the vault, and the floor routine would be all separately judged. Years of going to kids gymnastics to know this stuff. They do that quite often. They do that quite a ways through. A lot of music montages, a lot of we're not going to break down like all of track and field. I mean, again, Summer Olympics is the one that had to get I assume that Winter Olympics was already done. Summer Olympics had to be tossed in and had to be combined. So we do a lot of combining all the events and boiling it down to music montages instead of showing each individuals, which I believe that really helps with the flow of the story anyway. I think it would get very boring when you're watching it and everything is just all drawn out. I think that pacing wise, I think it's pretty good and pretty outstanding. It's just so weird. It's just lost to time. It's not anything, I guess like when it came on HBO or when it made its rounds to HBO is when it became more of a cult thing. The whole real world aspect of it is probably why there was never a sequel. They never sequelized these or do these more frequently. I don't even know. Give me a second. I could probably look up the money. Show me the money.
Please hold the line.
Unfortunately, I don't have like the box office numbers, but so I don't know. I have a feeling that they lost a big amount of money. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that they lost a little bit of money on this. I mean, the animation's really well done, and the voice work. I mean, again, I'm speaking from the nostalgia of when I saw this as a kid, and this is like this is a hidden gem that was in my mind. So now that I had the physical copy and I took some time to watch it for the podcast, the memory I think was much stronger than the rewatch. I mean, I enjoyed the rewatch. There was some feel goodness to it. There was some stuff that I was right over my head when I was a kid that I was like, oh boy, was it with Renee and Kit holding hands and the otter? I can't think of the name off of my hand, but it was like, oh, he should go all the way, man. He should go all the way, dude. Smoking references and stuff. Again, I ended up picking up on the trivia where like a lot of that stuff was edited out for the Disney Channel release. I feel like it was stronger when I was a child watching this than as an adult looking at this, and I don't know if that's the producer in me or if I'm just that old now. It's just like, if it's not G.I. Joe, I don't give a crap. So with Renee, the whole storyline with Renee is that he had no time for love. He was focused on the goal of winning that gold, and that's all he was going to do. He had women falling at his feet and everything, and he just all he wanted to do was go after this gold. And there's a whole music montage that expresses this, where like how he's like driven for this stuff, but then like basically like how the song comes about is like, well, once you win the gold, what do you get out of it? Like what happens in the end? So you've won the gold, and all you've done is you turn down life, and to him like the gold medal actually takes the form of Kit Mambo. And again, maybe I feel like something like that as a kid probably went over my head, but on a subconscious or a small level, it hit somewhere. It made its lasting approach. So then we have the Shalom events. We have let's see here, Kurt Wolfner. Kurt Wolfner is our downhill skier. Again, they're combining events now. This one's a little bit different because now they're combining events, but I think they still get gold medals, or they get their placements separate in each of these events because he does the Shalom and he does one of the other events, and he gets rated separately on that. And I think it's the same thing with Bolt. Bolt does like 2 or 3 different events because one of the events that Bolt does is that he actually gives his medal to the second place winner. This is all about friendship. This is all about the friends that you made along the way. Kurt goes exploring the mountaintops, and there's this whole breakdown. And somebody mentioned in the comics that they wanted to know if there was a scene where somebody cheated or something. And it's not that somebody cheated; it's the fact that he goes and he's walking up this mountaintop to practice, I believe, and he disappears, and they send people out to find him. They can't find him. They don't know where he's at. And he actually there's again another music montage, and he ends up in Daggerlaw. And it's like this dog totally died in the snow. He didn't survive. He somehow turns it around, and he shows up in the end, and he wins the entire event. But he goes back and he's like, I must seek Daggerlaw again. I must leave you. So it's like, you kind of get this poignant thing where it's like this character may have died. He's probably dead on a mountaintop somewhere. But he comes back and he wins, and then he just F's off. He just leaves. That's it. Of course, if you go back, this basically was voiced by like 4 people. This does not have they do not have a full cast of people. And I was thinking that the entire time, because it's like, oh, well, it's like Billy Crystal, Gilda Radner, and Harry Shearer. Billy Crystal, we all know. Gilda Radner and Harry Shearer are, of course, all 3 of them are SNL alumni, and Harry Shearer, of course, we know as Homer Simpson, and you recognize him right off the voice at Kent Brockman, right off the beginning of him doing the news report. But then you can pick out other times that he's doing other voices, and same with Billy Crystal. I can pick out other times that he's doing other voices. Gilda Radner doing her Barbara Walters, well, it's Barbara Warblers in the cartoon, but she's doing her Baba Wawa's bit that was she made famous on SNL. This whole thing was kind of voiced by 4 people, and if there are other people on there, they probably weren't credited. Brad Bird, of course, went on to work on The Simpsons. He went on to make The Iron Giant, and one of my personal favorites, another Hallmark Animations, The Iron Giant, but then he also made The Incredibles and Ratatouille. Another name that stuck out was Roger Allers and Bill Coyer. Allers animated Kit Mambo. Now, just a second ago, I was like, oh, this looks familiar. I can't find anything on here, and all I had to do was go to the wiki page. All I have to do is just read the wiki page. Darn it, Paul. Allers animated Kit Mambo, the lion star of Animalympics, who went on to direct The Lion King. Does this look like The Lion King? I don't know if I would put this on the same tier as The Lion King. Maybe. Bill Coyer, who later wrote and directed the Oscar-nominated short Technical Threat. I do not know what that is. And the animated feature Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest. See, I think that now I'm reaching for something. I'm reaching for a specific knowledge, and now I'm just like fitting anything and everything into that. But so we got The Lion King, we got Fern Gully. I mean, the thing that stuck out to me was like One Crazy Summer. Like I feel like the animated sequences from One Crazy Summer was kind of similar to Animalympics. Comment your comments wherever you can comment. Let me know your thoughts on all this. Very, very an item of the 80s, a very thing of the 80s. The music is very hallmark of the 80s. Those animated segments, those animated I don't know, the bumpers, I guess you would call them. Very, very like that shouts to me like heavy metal. And again, heavy metal is something I never saw until much later, because that one they would not release into on physical media. There was rights issues when it came to music, so maybe that's what I'm stretching for. Maybe does Animalympics look in the same style as heavy metal? Again, comment wherever you can comment on your thoughts on that. MRW22766 says, who did all those gritty adult-type cartoons? I think you're thinking of Ralph Bakshi, the animated like Cool World and Fritz the Cat and Lord of the Rings, a lot of that stuff. I was kind of thinking that like there's a disco dance sequence. Oh, talk about something from the past, something that encapsulated this whole disco scene where they're all like letting loose and there's like skunks dancing, and that whole scene kind of reminded me of something that was Ralph Bakshi. I don't know, like just looking over the Wikipedia stuff, I don't know that if he had any involvement in any of that anyway. They may have just ripped off his style, or I don't know. I mean, usually animation's a team thing, so it could be just people that worked on Ralph Bakshi stuff may have worked on this. I don't know. I would love to know. I would love to complete that thought, but I don't know if is that thought even completable. I don't know. Oh, thank you, by the way, Some Weird Sin and MRW. Don Bluth, maybe. I think Don Bluth was probably already either working for himself or working for Disney by this time. I don't really get the Secret of Nim vibes from Animalympics. C also says Laugh Olympics, sports cartoons, Olympic Games, wide world of sports, Tron, furry fandom, and 1980s in television. Very much a time capsule. I'm kind of curious, like if my kids were to watch this, would they be interested? Or, would they have the same feelings towards this film as I did, or is this just a, I don't know, a sign of the times? Is this from plopping down watching late night cable, late night pirated cable? I don't know if it would hit them in the feels the same as it did me, or if they're like, Dad, you're just too sappy and weird. And let's watch G.I. Joe. And this was an episode of BestowCast. Thank you very much for joining in and listening to my brain droppings on ramblings of Animalympics. Again, if you have the means to support the channel, I implore you to join the members area of Bestow TV's YouTube. If not, it is fine. You can like, comment, subscribe, interact, watch, rewatch, re-listen, interact again, share it to friends, shout from the rooftops, eat Cheetos in the full moon at midnight, I believe it was the original phrase that started this all, and I will see you next week. Have a good one. I'd like to thank these Patreon and YouTube members for helping support episodes like this and more. Michael Housel, Gothic Unicorn, Outer Space International. If you'd like to help back Bestow TV and earn special bonus perks, please join us on our YouTube membership area or patreon.com/BestowTV. Thanks again.